Greetings and salutations. Welcome to my home. This is part 2 of Roadmap to Enlightenment. This one's called, Why Should This Matter to You? Well, I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit talk through me because there's so many reasons I wouldn't know where to start. I mean, why should this matter to you? What is the difference between enlightenment and ego? Now, we talked a little bit in the last video of how the ego is all about diminishing everybody else. The ego believes that by diminishing everybody else, this elevates the self. Now, common sense, logic, reality, all things tell us if we're diminishing everybody else, if that's what we're about, that is diminishing us, ourselves, more than anything else we could ever do in our lives. We know that on a rational, logical basis, but at the same time, through the ego, it becomes our nature to diminish everybody else. We see everybody else as a competitor. If there's a way we can cause someone we're in competition with to lose $100,000, that's of equal value to us as earning $100,000 properly. Him losing $100,000 through misfortune is of equal value to the ego as making $100,000. And the worst part of it is, to the ego, that competitor who just lost $100,000 through no fault of his or her own could just as easily be your own child, okay? The ego will sabotage and destroy its own children, its own biological children. The ego will sabotage the child's relationships, sabotage the child's sense of self-esteem, because that unending desire to compete requires the person to destroy everybody. Everybody's a competitor. Anything you can do to kneecap and destroy the other guy while elevating your own arrogant self, this the ego sees as good. Why would you not want to be that kind of person? I'm going to leave that with you, because anybody who wants to be that kind of person probably is that person already. If you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're not that kind of person and would not wish to be. Now, I said in the last video that I want to give some resources out in regard to how we can get rid of the ego in our own lives. The best one that I have ever discovered, and you'll never hear me recommending a lot of books. I've done one book review on my channel, and it was for this book here. Hopefully the light's catching it. It's called A Course in Miracles, Combined Volume, Foundation for Inner Peace. This came out in 1975. Sold tens of millions of copies at the time. It's a little bit hard to find now. Basically, two top psychiatrists in New York City, university professors, top of their field, Columbia University, New York City, top of their field, they had this massive spiritual experience. Now, they were hardcore atheists, nothing but contempt for all things spiritual, nihilistic, completely nihilistic, you know. Yeah, kill that phone. Yeah, in my last video, the phone rang. I tell you, I've got the same life that you have. I get opposition, I get chaos, everything that can go wrong will go wrong, but you know what? If we're trying to do something good, we're going to have that. If we're waiting for a perfect sunny day to do something good, and nobody's going to criticize us, people are going to help us, nobody's going to try and trip us up, I guarantee you'll never do anything good in your whole life. Unless you're willing to swim upstream against chaos, unless I'm willing to do these videos with somebody banging on the door, chaos next door, problems galore, but do the video anyway, these videos would never get done. So it's good. I'm glad the phone rang. And there it's ringing again. You see that? Every kind of thing that can go wrong goes wrong. I'm getting ready to throw that fucking phone out the window. But anyways, I'll just leave it there. Fuck off! Okay, now, let's take a break. If you've ever tried to do something good, maybe you haven't, maybe you have, then you know what it's like, okay? Most people don't get it, so maybe it's good that all this comes up. Because, there's something I'd like to say. When I was young, Mother Teresa was famous for, she'd be going out into the worst neighborhoods on the planet in Calcutta, pulling people out of the gutter, wiping the maggots off of them with her bare hands. These people would stink. It was the worst of the worst. And young people would say, well, she probably just does that because it's fun for her. That's what she wants to do. It's fun. People only do what's fun. People only do what they like. And I want you to know that is a complete lie. I think you get the idea that it's a complete lie. I don't know if Mother Teresa had fun one day in her whole life. Probably not. But I do understand what it means to do the right thing because it's the right thing, regardless of the horrific consequences to oneself. And they are horrific. You can forget about having the dreams that the ego wants. If you start doing the right thing because it's the right thing, you've taken a different path. You've taken a path where you're going to have treasure in heaven and happiness for eternity, but your life is going to be harder. If you want to work 3 hours a day and be president of the United States, you for sure got to sell out completely. Okay? If you want to do the right thing because it's the right thing, if you want to make something of yourself and instead of being a weak loser, like 99% of the population, selling out, having nothing, being nothing at all, worse than just a hologram, just nothing. If you want to be more than nothing, then maybe that's why this should matter to you. Why should this matter to you? Maybe you want to be something more than nothing. Maybe you'd like to leave this world with treasure in heaven and something to look forward to. You could leave with karmic debt like 99% of the population. You could have a much worse life next time around if you believe in reincarnation. Well, you'll probably get reincarnated even if you don't believe in reincarnation. Now, Course in Miracles is designed to do more for you than just help you to get enlightenment. This book is designed to help you complete the human experience totally. Your soul goes off to be in the center of God's heart. You have bliss and joy for eternity. Enlightenment actually doesn't require as much. You can attain enlightenment without having fully completed your human experience. You might still have a long way to go, but enlightenment is the goal. We need to get 1% of the population on board with enlightenment. This affects the other 99% to the point where they abandon the global warming, they abandon the wars, and they embrace a kind of neo-enlightenment whereby they're not really enlightened, but they go along with it and we can have world peace. So we need to get 1% of the population on board. Now, when these two psychiatrists in New York City had their experience, instead of writing a typical, waste-of time book where you got one idea and you wrap 300 pages around it so you can sell it and make big money, this is a book which involves everything they've ever learned in the psychiatric profession. It's all about deprogramming yourself. Yes, this is a thick book. You read about 3 or 4 pages of it a day. You deprogram yourself. Deprogram yourself. This is a resource for deprogramming yourself. A few pages a day for a year and a half, you can deprogram yourself from the human ego. You can come to an understanding of reality for the first time in your life. Now I do a two video book review on this where I go into it in elaborate detail. That's already done. It's on my channel. Go to What is the Course in Miracles book review. Go to that and you'll know every reason there is to know as to why it's worth getting this book. $10 on Amazon for a used one. $25, $30 brand new. You might not find it in a bookstore. Yes, they've sold tens of millions of these, but it came out in '75. You can get it at any bookstore, but you got to order it, okay? They don't have it on the shelf. Easy to get, $10 on Amazon. You don't like Amazon, you don't have a credit card, go to a bookstore. I highly recommend this. You can read three or four pages a day and deprogram yourself. I've been through this twice. Now it's called A Course in Miracles. It's actually not a course. Everything is in this book. They call it a course because the incremental deprogramming is kind of like taking a course. But it's not a course, it's a book. You don't have to join anything. $10, you got everything you need right in this book. All right. So that's the one resource I'm sharing with you today. Now, why should this be important to us? Okay, Well, why would the ending of global warming be important? Why would the ending of the wars be important? Why would we want to grow as a human being? Why is that important? Why would we want to have real relationships that fill us with joy instead of simply destroying all our relationships, belittling everybody else and destroying ourselves in the process? I think you already know why that's important. I really do. I think this is more or less a reminder, more so than anything else. We have to get rid of the human ego. We have to get 1% of the population on board so that we can save the planet that we're on. And when I say save the planet, I'm not just talking about global warming. You've probably noticed that the United States is turning into a perfect fascist society. You've got both parties in lockstep on unlimited spending on military. The media is in lockstep with them, and all industry is in lockstep with them as well. If you look up fascism in the dictionary, that's perfect fascism right there. Now, I go into that in much greater detail in other videos. I don't want a one-world government where the fascists are in complete control, and the only information I can get is the same kind of crap that people are getting from CNN, NBC. 90% of what goes on in the world, they don't report. And when the 10% that they do report, they toe the line. They say exactly what others have said. They don't deviate from it. They don't challenge it. If the government says Iran sponsors terrorism, they'll say Iran sponsors terrorism. They won't tell you anything. They won't challenge it. They won't explore two sides of an issue at all. They just don't do that. It's not done anymore. I see that as bad. I don't want a fascist one-world government. I don't want global warming. I don't want to live in a world that hatred and greed are the only two things that everybody can agree on. I think we deserve something more than that. And if you feel the same way, then check out the two-part book review, What is A Course in Miracles? Do that today. And come back and join me for video number 3. It'll be coming out soon. My name is Scott McGurn, and thank you for your time.